Lords, where it all began.
लेकिन जो प्ले शुरू होगा वो एग्जैक्टली लंच के बाद जो 1:40 पर प्ले शुरू होगा.
Cricket, the imperial legacy. And in my time in India, the game played by Pakka Sahibs, the Maharajas and their henchmen. As an expatriate Indian living in England, I found it difficult to reconcile the appeal of a colonial pastime with an independent India. I pondered about our sense of priorities. So much time devoted to the game. Almost a whole week on this Jubilee Test alone. And more time on socializing afterwards. A banquet at Grosvenor House. The hosts, the India Association, UK.
How do you do? Mr. Malhotra? Tell me which day and which time. Who would leave you at Trivedi's place directly? Before that, you come and have a meal with us in the evening. Either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Anytime you say, I'll definitely come.
Monday.
How are you?
Hello, Kapil. Well played.
Thank you.
I didn't enjoy watching it, but well played.
240 million.
In my student days in India, back in the 30s, the independence movement was more pressing than cricket. But then, as CLR James says, what do they of cricket know who only cricket know?
Mushtaq, Merchant, Modi, Hazari, Abdul Hafiz Khader. Many, many names from those great days. And of course it goes from, technically, from 1932, from Naidu up to 1982, Gavaskar. And for that I pay tribute, because you are warmly welcome on these shores and you bring with it a part of cricketing heritage for our country, and you are ever the more welcome for that.
There is obviously more to it than meets the eye. In my search, I first went to Rajkot in Western India to find out about the phenomenon that first put India on the cricket map of the world. Although I had no love for the princes as such, there was a prince I admired for adding luster to India in the only way he knew. Jam Sahib Ranjit Singh Ji, popularly known as Ranji.
What I do feel we can undoubtedly say is that it was from Saurashtra, from Jamnagar, from the college here in Rajkot, that the distinctive genius of Indian cricket first really emerged. Emerged in no uncertain manner in the form of Ranji's exceptional versatility and originality. And when he was so closely followed by Dooley, well, then I think it was clear that the Pandora's box of India's cricketing genius had been opened, and there was going to be much magic to follow. When he first joined Rajkumar College and entered our assembly hall, Ranji was described as a frail young man. And nobody could have imagined all the wonders he was to go on to work for cricket. not even his devoted and discerning principal, Mr. Chester McNaughton, who convinced that Ranji had quite exceptional talent, which cricket simply must not miss, took him with him to the home of cricket. And with the results, we all know that the manner of cricket, the approach to batsmanship, which had evolved and become established during the Victorian and Edwardian era, was rather suddenly and startlingly disturbed. And Ranji added to it his own suppleness and subtlety, his own finesse. An exhilarating breath of fresh air, as it were, from India.
Here in Rajkumar College, an Indian Eton for the sons of princes, sport in Ranji's time was a means of inculcating the imperial ethos. At a nearby school, another boy wrestled with his books, who was to change the shape of things in India.
In fact, when Ranji was at school here, Gandhiji's parents had moved from Porbandar to Rajkot, and he was at school nearby, just half a mile away or so, at what used to be called Alfred High School. It is now fittingly named after him in schoolboy terms, Mohandas Gandhi High School. It was the first high school to be opened in Rajkot. One of Gandhiji's contemporaries said that in fact Gandhiji played cricket when he was at school. A former headmaster who was doing some research on Gandhiji's school days came along in the conviction that Gandhiji might well have played cricket here on our Rajkumar College ground. We can't say, but we'd be very proud to think he did.
I wondered about the fate of India if Gandhi had been converted to cricket. But I could already see that as far as India was concerned, it was sold on cricket.
It is a British legacy like the English language. It's come to stay. I think it has now got very deep roots into this country's culture and way of living. It's by far the most popular Indian sport. I thought it fits absolutely in the right slot with the Indian frame of mind. Indians have got all the time that they want in the things that they are interested in. Also, I think every Indian life is a bit of a gamble. He's a bit insecure. Life is a bit of a chance. Game of cricket is a bit of a gamble, a bit of a chance. I think it is this deep-seated association that anybody and everybody, rich and poor, tall and short, whether you are turbaned, whether you are from industry, whether you are from agriculture, everybody has taken up cricket. The Britishers played it, the Maharajas played it, and now it's being dominated by the commoners.
Tanda cold drink? Yes, sir. Tanda cold drink?
Chocolate. Get me chocolate. Milk chocolate. Get me chocolates.
The watching of Test cricket, and I emphasize watching because in my long experience I find as time goes on that, shall we say, out of an average of 50,000 people in a stadium these days, at any big center in India, I should swear that not more than 10,000 really know the game.
How many balls?
I think what has single-handedly made this game 3 times more popular than it was, say, 3 or 4 years ago, I would unhesitatingly say it is the broadcast in Hindi commentary of cricket matches. Cricket was very much an urban game. It belonged to the cities where people followed cricket on transistor with English commentary. But when the commentary was started in Hindi, the game of cricket went to that 80% of population living in villages, and particularly the northeastern belt, which is the Hindi-speaking belt. And I think for once, cricket really took deep roots when we started doing commentary in Hindi. And I think it is that which has made this game far more popular, far more acceptable to the common cause of this country than ever before.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed a great match of cricket. The manager-designate Indian cricket team, Shri Fateh Singh Raoji Gaikwad, is with us. And the trophy will be presented by him to the captain of Rest of India team, who is also captain-designate Indian cricket team, which is going to Pakistan in November.
Festival of Dasera, which happens to fall at the height of the cricketing season, a time for rejoicing and celebration. It was no use my being cynical. I might as well accept cricket as part of the Indian scene. I wanted to meet an Indian cricketer on his own home ground. I travelled north to Chandigarh to keep a date with the man who's currently the biggest name in Indian cricket.
Kapil Dev. Kapil. Kapil.
Abbas साहब कैसे हैं आप? ठीक है? और आइए.
Well, cricket given me everything so far. Good name, good money, and I've been to England, Australia, New Zealand, and so many other countries only due to cricket. So I think cricket done fairly good with me as well. Every youngster have a, I mean, they think to become something. Well, I used to think if I can become a cricketer. So in the beginning I started just as a bowler, went at practice, streets and play the local cricket. And later on, I become a bit serious in cricket because I start traveling and finding more interesting and nice people meeting.
Kapil Dev took me to his old school.
I think he was not in cricket from the beginning. Yeah. In 1970, you see, that is when Haryana Cricket Association came into being, and that was the first time when young Kapil Dev was selected for the Haryana schools. And he was taken as a pace bowler. He showed his paces right then only. And when we talk about the tall scoring he has done now, it is after he got into the test that he improved upon his batting and he's become one of the best all-rounders of the world. Yes, but I was always, when we brought him up, you know, for my club, Central Cricket Club also, we used to take him for matches outside to Patiala, Lucknow, Ludhiana, and even local matches. Yeah. So he used to show his paces, his keenness, and he's a fighter. I'm an Indian and I'm proud of my own product. Yeah. And here it is. Nobody will say that he is a test player who cannot be approached. Any of these boys standing here today, he'll come and meet them. He'll talk to the youngsters. And can you beat it, sir? Don't push, don't push.
It was his frankness and it was, he'd just say anything. He wouldn't be tactful about anything. So initially I would get very upset and I would tell this friend of mine, I said, what a funny friend you have. Why doesn't he know what he's saying? And he says, well, that's just the way he is. And now I've settled for somebody like that. It wasn't love at first sight, that I know. But, well, as I said, I had very good friends. And he was also very friendly, so we just kept meeting. And I think if we fell in love, it took us about 2 or 3 months to realize. I don't know about the cricketing star bit, but I think he's a wonderful husband. I couldn't have got any better. You know, I've been asked this question time and time again, but to me, he somehow is never a star. He's just my husband. You know, when I see him on television or whatever, I keep feeling it's somebody else. I just can't seem to, because he's been so natural. He doesn't have any airs or anything with me.
Kapil Dev, a commoner, who had attained stardom through cricket. But no one can deny that the game of cricket itself owes its present place in India to the patronage it once received from the princes. And no prince did more to promote the game by personal example than the ruler of Navanagar, known to cricketers simply as Ranji. Jamnagar was the capital city of his princely state in Gujarat, almost the size of Wales, and the Jam Sahib, as the Maharajas of Navanagar were known, ruled over the destinies of 1,000,000 souls. These palaces are now empty and neglected. The present incumbents, shorn of their powers and their privy purses, can no longer afford to pay for their upkeep. But Ranji's bedroom is carefully and lovingly preserved by the present Jam Sahib, who took me to see it in a style reminiscent of the old days. The red number plate, the liveried chauffeur, and the guest escorted by the gracious host. Ranji's bodyguard, an Arab from Oman, is 85 and still prays for Ranji when he reads his Quran. Every day for the 50 years since Ranji died, Abdullah bin Sulaiman has followed this ritual to keep Ranji's bedroom fresh with incense and his mementos free of dust. His glass eyes. He lost his right eye in a shooting accident in Yorkshire. His medals from the battlefields of World War I and trophies from other contests no less memorable. The present Jam Sahib, Shatrushalya Singhji, is no mean cricketer himself. He's Ranji's grandnephew, but he thinks of himself as his grandson.
Well, Jam Sahib, this is quite a fantastic collection. But apart from a few Indian mythology themes, most of it is Western, and by Western artists too. What's the secret behind that?
Well, it is my personal opinion that I think he was trying to beat the British at their own game. And I think most people would agree. Take the game of cricket. He perhaps did just as well as any Britisher ever did, if not better. Look at this picture, for example. That is his famous leg glance, which he invented and which he became a master of, and which even today very few people, other than Indians, can really play it well. In his debut for England against Australia, he was the only Indian in the side, the first Indian ever to play for England, and he virtually did a rescue job for England. And I think that's something which would make every Indian very proud. That time we didn't have an Indian test team that he could have played for, otherwise certainly he'd have played for India. But he did the next best thing, and perhaps an even better thing, play for England. He was really very much in the cricket scene when he suddenly succeeded to the throne. And naturally cricket had to take second place, and ruling had to take preference.
Raj Kavi, once Ranji's court poet, still sings these songs in Ranji's praise. The words seem to echo the tributes paid to him by C.V. Fry. He moved as if he had no bones. And by Wainwright, he never made a Christian stroke in his life. Ranji's golden statue, erected by a loving populace, stands guard over the city. But his memory has been more suitably preserved in the Ranji Trophy tournament, which is India's equivalent of the county championships. Ranji Trophy matches excite great interest all over India. This one is between Saurashtra and Bombay, played in Jamnagar on the ground built by Ranji himself. But first things first, it is not just a cricket match, it's an outing for the day. A good stroke is rewarded with money pressed into the cricketers' hands by appreciative spectators. And at the end of the match, the statutory stampede. Another ruling house that did much to promote cricket in India was the House of Patiala in northern India. The Baradari ground in Patiala, where in the Maharaja's time, the morning dew was lifted by a heavy rope 50 yards long, worked by a gang of convicts. Patiala's coat of arms was worn by top cricketers of the day, Harold Arwood, Wilfred Rhodes, who were often in the Maharaja's employ. In these pavilions, the Maharaja entertained his guests, often members of the visiting MCC team. Entertained them so royally, in fact, that they were well below their form when the match began the next morning. The Maharaja's team always won. Here, his party revelers and handmaidens floated upon blocks of ice on hot summer nights. And the great man himself, the legendary Maharaja Bhupendra Singh, who made all this possible and died in harness. Matting now replaces the turf which was originally brought all the way from England and tended by an army of gardeners. Elephants used to pull the heavy roller. Some of the world's most famous cricketers played here either as members of the Patiala team or as his guests for a fixture that was a must for every team visiting India. And the Moti Bagh Palace itself is now the venue for the National Institute of Sport, the only institute of its kind in Asia. It trains coaches from all over India and from abroad in all spheres of sport, including cricket.
Today we are going to discuss swing. What is swing and under what circumstances a cricket ball swings? First of all, what is swing? Whenever a ball in its trajectory deviates its actual line, maybe away from the batsman or towards the batsman, it's called swing. If it goes from off stump to leg stump, it is in swing.
Let someone get it back again and move on to the ball and play it back. That's better. Good one. Keep on moving, man. Don't stand at a place. That's right. Yes. Let's move past the place. Come on.
And cricket is not a male preserve anymore. India can field a pretty useful women's international side. Yet women's cricket does not receive the support it deserves.
Two slips a gully. Forward short leg. Anita.
Most of these girls have to hold full-time jobs, which make their own demands. But they're beginning to win the battle for better conditions and facilities. The under-12s take their cricket very seriously. And as in my time, it is still the district magistrate who hands out the prizes.
Next, Group Pandav, best all-rounder of the tournament. Captain of the SP Single 11. Come on. Now the next prize is Raman Pal Singh, Man of the Series.
No prizes here, just the love of the game. A future Kapil Dev, a run-hungry Gavaskar, Kapil Dev himself had the Pakistan tour on his mind.
And second, what you said, depend on lead. Whoever take leads, rather, if they take a lead, they won't try to do anything extraordinary. Right. If we take a lead, then they can try to do anything because they are playing at Pakistan. You know, they are playing at their own grounds. Okay. Bye, Manu.
And so to Bombay, to assemble for the tour of Pakistan. The blessings of a mother and the hopes of several 100 million people go with him.
Manu, bye.
Okay, Mama.
A Kathak dance in my hometown of Lucknow, the nursery of this classical form. Lucknow was also the center of other arts and the last word in refinement. But Lucknow has declined from its original splendor when ruled by the kings of Abbas. Even in my time, in the 30s, there was still a kind of poetry in the air of Lucknow. But now, man and beast join the path to material progress. The Nakhas market goes on selling anything and everything under the sun. Nothing new there. But now cricket has supplanted the old pastimes. It only needs a stretch of open ground. The rest is easily improvised. In the shadows of the mausoleums of the kings of Awadh, and by the steps of what was once the memorial to Queen Victoria, whose statue has been removed from its pedestal. Today, the Empress of India sits in the backyard of Lucknow Museum in the solemn company of her faithful lieutenants from other parts of the city. The Raj has gone, but the echoes remain. The Governor's Garden Party. Mr. C.P.N. Singh, the Governor of UP.
This have 200 years old. The association of India with the British for a very long time also has contributed to the fact that cricket became very popular here.
Hello, Brian.
Hi.
Yes, yes.
In Kanpur, I met Mr. Srivastava, who has been collecting cricket raw for nearly half a century.
From the last 40 years, I am collecting this collection. And I have got my pen friends in Australia, New Zealand, England, Pakistan. And I drop them later and exchange autographs from them. And I also send them from Indian cricketers' autographs. I got one letter from Keith Miller of Australia. He dropped me a letter regarding my collection. Hobby cannot be purchased, nor it can be sold. This is my 40 years hobby, and I'm not going to sell it at any cost. This is my life's most valuable trait.
It was obvious to me that cricket was more than just a game in India. It may have been washed ashore with the British, but it was now part of the fabric of society.
Good afternoon, this is Narayan Jayaprakash welcoming you back after tea at Raven Stadium on the first day of the 4-day Duleep Trophy semi-final between North Zone and East Zone, which is being played here. North Zone began this morning with makeshift opener Rakesh Shukla and Surinder Khanna. Rakesh Shukla being asked to open the innings as Chetan Chauhan was indisposed and thus not in the 11. First wicket to go at 54 was Surinder Khanna, was bowled by Dilip Doshi for 27, and then Rakesh Shukla, the second to go, leg before wicket bowled for Ranjit Singh for 77, and that wicket fell at 149. Back with the game now as Palas Nandi continues to bowl from the Churchgate end. Second over after.
Saying that this was the influence of British rule is only a part of the game. It's not the whole thing. I mean, it's like if you see only batting but don't see any fielders, don't see the bowler, and then you say that that is cricket. Well, that is not cricket. Obviously, the British influence is one of the most important factors. But there has to be something in the Indian ethos which attracted the people to cricket. I would say that it fitted in beautifully with the feudal tradition that existed in the country. You play your game leisurely. you are in no hurry.
He's on attack, not really.
When a dance party or a music party was organized by one of the feudal lords, Nawabs, Rajas, as we called them, then everyone in that whole locality was welcome to come and see.
228 for 2.
The sense of participation was an essential part of that culture. That sense of participation is possible with cricket.
In Bombay, every religious community has its Gymkhana club along Marine Drive. The Parsis, originally from Persia, were the first to take up cricket and founded their club in 1848, the Oriental Cricket Club. The Hindus followed, then the Muslims. Cricket in India, as nowhere else, was organized along communal lines. The tournaments developed accordingly. The triangular, Parsis versus Hindus versus Europeans. The quadrangular, Parsis versus Hindus versus Muslims versus Europeans. And finally, the pentangular, Parsis versus Hindus versus Muslims versus Europeans versus the rest. Independent India abolished these divisive confrontations. Bombay Gymkhana, once the exclusive domain of Europeans, refused membership even to Ranji. Today, the atmosphere is less stuffy. Sunday at the Azad Maidan in Bombay. Almost 300 teams play here. Not all simultaneously, in Kanga League, the largest tournament in the world. Fielders standing back to back. In India, there's room for all. And after the test and club cricketers come the street cricketers, who make do with the little they have. But the test star may live next door. Here in Bombay, Sandeep Patil is a hero figure in his neighborhood. He shows them how before catching the flight for the tour to Pakistan.
First seat over here, sir.
Smiling still, huh?
The first test will be in Lahore in 10 days' time. I chose to travel from Delhi to Lahore by road. The same road I had taken some 30 years ago when the future of this ancient land was being decided with indecent haste. Here, in the terrible years of partition, Muslims fled to Pakistan against a tide of Hindus in the opposite direction. I was then a young army officer, back from duty in Japan with the Communal's occupation force, and I returned to a land in the grip of its self-made holocaust. I took an army convoy from Delhi to Rawalpindi at a time when hundreds of thousands were massacred. But the land recovers. Wounds heal. The refugees from across the border have put down fresh roots in this fertile land and are now helping India to feed herself. Burst tire? No problem. Soon be fixed. Meanwhile, there is roadside tea. Milk and tea and sugar all mixed up and brought to the boil. I thought it would fortify me for the border crossing. They'll be arriving for the test in Lahore. Ambassadors of goodwill, all clean and amateur. But what about the commercial side of cricket?
If you talk about the game as a whole, well, you take tennis or golf or football, that is ever so professional. And there's more money attached to it, and there's more viciousness about the sport. And it's very difficult to imagine that cricket would be an exception.
दुनिया के highest scorer वो है सनी गावस्कर स्पोर्टिंग भी है कैप्टन भी है cover drive मारेगा.
Test cricketers particularly have the same kind of following as the film stars.
बैट्समैन और एक महान नाम उसका चेतन चौहान स्पोर्टिंग भी है फाइटर भी है थोड़ा हट झटपट स्क्वायर कट मारेगा.
Kapil Dev, a tough cricketer with a tough beard. Only Palmolive shave cream softens it. Palmolive has the exclusive SGL4 formula.
I think if you take into account the fact that a test match between two countries played in India would fetch you a gross income of roughly between $350,000 to $600,000, and you're talking in terms of a 5-test series that is close to $2.5 million. And even if you take away the expenses, there's obviously enough money still left for the local associations and the board to look after the game, to organize the various coaching schemes, etc., to keep the game going. Now that is at the official level. Then we take the commercial angle as far as the cricketer is concerned. Obviously they do not get, in terms of ratio of the gross intake of a test match, not a great deal, but then don't forget that A, they are amateurs, and B, that they are fairly gainfully employed elsewhere. And the money that they get is, of course, tax-free. Now this is apart from the sponsorship that they may be doing.
Palmolive softens the toughest beard. Use Palmolive to soften your tough beard.
Railways patronize it, nationalized banks patronize it, airlines, nationalized airlines patronize it. So now I think we have got a fairly high percentage of people from the government and industry patronizing the game. Yet I think game even today in this country remains amateurish, although it is beginning to have a professional philosophy.
Stylish batting के नाथ सबके प्यारे विश्वनाथ स्पोर्टिंग भी है जॉली भी है spin या piss हो flick of the wrist मारेगा.
Meanwhile, back at the border, there is a problem. There is the no man's land to cross, and customs and immigration twice over.
I have to film the test match. जरा ये भी कर दीजिए. ठीक है सर जाओ. वो कहने से उधर जाओ ना. उधर पे. रिपोर्ट करवा रही. हाँ जी. देखिए. इधर आइए. मेरा ये मैं फिल्म कर रहा हूँ. जरा test match कर लीजिए.
My sister and her family waited patiently at the border. I had not seen her since partition. Nephews and nieces I had never met. Partition had cut deeply across families like mine.
बहुत खुश हुई मिल गया आपसे.
ये कौन? ये कौन?
Like me, the Indians who came to watch the test match also came to visit Lahore and to meet old friends and relatives. The Sikhs especially have a deep nostalgia for Lahore. At the tomb of the poet Iqbal, I found a wreath left by the Indian Minister of Information and President of Cricket Control Board. Imran Khan of Pakistan leading his men to join battle. It'll be a hard-fought game. There'll be no quarter given.
Narayan Jayaprakash welcoming you back to Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore, here in Pakistan, on the 4th day of the first cricket test match, India versus Pakistan, for the 1982-83 series. India begin the day today, 87 for no wicket, Gavaskar not out 38, Arun Lal not out 4 wickets, still requiring 199 runs to avoid the ball.
There is keen rivalry between the two sides. An India-Pakistan test match is like the battle for the Ashes, but somehow without the animosity.
Over the wicket, goes to Gavaskar. That one is short in length. Gavaskar goes back, turns him out on the onside. Calls Arun Lal for a single. The batsmen are quickly through for one. Gavaskar 39.
The match will be followed by millions all over the subcontinent. In the homes, in the streets, on television, and on radio.
बहरहाल सबसे पहली दिलचस्पी की बात यहाँ रहेगी कि भारत 199 रन और जोड़कर अपने 87 के परसों के योग में फॉलो ऑन का जो लक्ष्य है उस मंजिल को पहले पार करे और उसके बाद यह एक तरह से अधिकृत रूप से माना जा सकता है कि जब तक कोई नाटकीय परिवर्तन, कोई भारतीय बल्लेबाजी है वो एकदम से विफल न हो, एकदम से नाकामयाब न हो और एक के बाद एक विकेट गिरते न चले जाएं। इस टेस्ट मैच के अंदर जहां तक दिलचस्पी का सवाल है पूरी खत्म मान लेनी चाहिए। खेल जबकि शुरू होने वाला है and that ball is outside the off stump. Further away, Gavaskar got nothing to do with it. Allows the ball to go through to Bari. 4 slips, gully cover, mid wicket, forward chalk leg and a deep backward spin. Imran Khan from the pavilion end to Gavaskar. And the immediate interest is as and when Gavaskar reaches 49, he's 38 not out presently, he will be completing 7,000 runs in Test cricket. To Arun Lal this time.
Just for the record, the match ended in a draw. But the result seemed hardly to matter. What struck me at the end of it all was the goodwill between the two sides. Were we the same people who had committed the carnage of 1947 and fought 3 bitter wars since? As I watched them fraternizing at the end of the match, I started making up my own combined 11. Imran Khan, Kapil Dev, Zahir Abbas, Sunil Gavaskar, Mudassir Nazar, Mohinder Amarnath, Mohsin Khan, Sandeep Patil, What a lineup, I thought. Undivided and almost unbeatable.
Write it to Samana.
To?
Samana.
How do you spell?
A-M-A.
चलो बेटे चलो साइड पे यार बस करो आप उनको
I swear,